Hey guys, it's Doki, and today we're going to be talking about a game you probably haven't heard of. I'm referring to a little game by the name of The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. It released in February of 2019 in the West for the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. It's a cute little action-adventure platformer with light puzzle-solving elements, amazing art design, and a heartwarming story. Here is how it begins. There was once a wolf with a beautiful singing voice. She would sing towards the moon every night from atop a cliff. One night, however, a young prince from the surrounding kingdom would venture into the woods to hear the singing. The wolf grew to appreciate his audience, and thus would continue singing every night, always careful to never show the prince who or what she was. One night, however, the prince's curiosity had reached its limit, and he climbed the cliff to see her. The wolf panicked and reached to cover his eyes, accidentally slashing them with her claws. At the end of the whole encounter, the prince was blinded and locked away in the castle by his parents, who saw him as an embarrassment now. After this, the wolf goes to the Witch of the Forest, who can grant any wish, and asks to be turned into a princess so that she can guide the prince back to the witch in hopes of curing his blindness. The witch grants her wish under two conditions. The first is that she must give the witch her singing voice, of which she was so proud of. And the second is that Moonlight will forcibly turn her back into a wolf if it touches her. She agrees to the terms and rushes to free the prince and begin their journey. The gameplay consists of mainly two mechanics. You can turn into a wolf to attack an enemy or jump higher, and your goal is to escort the prince through the forest by holding his hand and guiding him. Other than that, the gameplay is pretty standard for a platformer. Solve puzzles, defeat monsters, and get the prince to the end of the stage. But the gameplay isn't the main focus here. The main thing that drew me to this game in the first place was the gorgeous art style and great character design. The prince's ratty clothes and blindfold show just how vulnerable and pure he is, while the princess's human form has jags and edges that pay homage to what she really is, a monster. Once I started playing through, however, the story is what kept me invested, and honestly put this in the list of some of my favorite games of all time. Now, the game isn't very long, it's maybe an hour or two. But in the time it takes to play through it all, you get to see the characters really grow and get fleshed out. The prince becomes a lot less timid and opens up, and the princess learns about what it's like to be a human. But the whole time, the princess questions if her and the prince can really be friends. Monsters eat humans, and she knows that better than anybody. Slowly, we can see her think more and more about the relationship she has with the prince, and if she's a fool for even trying. The guilt she carries for blinding him on top of the lies she has to tell take a toll on her as the story progresses, and crush her mentality. We are taken through a bunch of different places, from densely wooded areas to caves and beyond. And in every area we can see entities and surroundings that remind her that humans and monsters aren't meant to be friends. And that leads to this really interesting dynamic where the princess tries to keep the prince from finding out that there are monsters nearby, and has to be sneaky about everything, while the prince is blissfully unaware of the danger right under his nose, and trusts the princess 110%, which just leads to the princess feeling even more guilty. So from here on out, we will be entering spoiler territory. So if you want to play this for yourself, which I highly recommend, just click off the video now. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you sticking around this long. For those of you who are still here, let's continue. The prince and the princess go to a flower field, and moonlight shines on their hands, revealing the princess's true form. He feels the claws that blinded him and stumbles backwards off of a cliff. The princess tries to save him, but he knows now. He knows that it's her fault. He falls along with a lantern, and that sparks a forest fire. They eventually patch things up and confront the Witch of the Forest, who is furious. As payment for the prince's eyes and the forest fire, the princess is forced to give up her princess form, as well as the precious memories she made with the prince along the way. And then, well, I'll let the ending speak for itself. The wolf hadn't been particularly craving humans, but a midnight snack had just presented itself to her. She raised a large paw, ready to kill the human and eat him. The wolf was suddenly overwhelmed by colors of every shade imaginable. For some reason, she was filled with nostalgia and a gentle, familiar scent. "I came to see you again, princess." Suddenly, she was overcome with emotion. Tears welled up in her eyes and flowed down her face. Sadness and anguish burst from her heart. They cuddled up under the moonlight as the wolf sang again. It wasn't very good singing, but the human listened to it joyfully nonetheless. After that night, the wolf sang not toward the moon, but for the human sitting next to her, and they lived happily ever after. This game is a hidden gem, something that I'm so glad I stumbled upon, and a game that I'll never forget. This game makes me emotional every playthrough without fail. It's not perfect, but it doesn't try to be. It just wants to tell you a story, and what an amazing story it is. Thank you for watching. I'm Doki, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I've actually had this video on the back burner for about as long as this channel has been around. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want to see more videos like this, or if you've ever played this game, because I've never talked to anybody else who has. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.